Hello, it's Kelly from ZinnyMe. Hello, I'm coming at you from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Mighty Network. If you're not in our Mighty Network, that's where we do go live for videos and things like this. And it's how we do teaching in our business school as well. And I know it's kind of late, but I just finished therapy, my own therapy, where I go see a therapist, virtually, of course. And I just finished my session, and I feel grateful for this kind of work, not only as a therapist who has done therapy, but also as a person who is still healing and has the opportunity to work with a really skilled clinician. It makes all the difference. And, next week we start our joy rally. But lately it hasn't felt too joyful. Our world is at war in some ways. We're watching these terrible things happen with Russia, but there's also other refugee issues across the globe. We still have social injustice, we have natural disasters, and then we have just a pandemic turning into an endemic, and we have just life, people getting sick and changes that we have no control over. We can do our part to advocate, we can do our part to vote, we can do our part to speak up against social injustice. And yet these things continue to rage on. And it feels, at first, I was thinking about, it feels kind of funny right now to be doing a joy rally. But at the same time, it feels very much needed, because I feel that the past few years have had a depletion of it. I don't know if you've experienced that. I'd be curious to know if you have. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Lisa, Cinnamon, Christopher, Krista, Selena, Patricia. Have any of you can share in the chat, experienced that depletion of joy, or at least a sense of the source of joy shifting, or what it took to feel joyful before is not the same. And when I think about everything that's happening around us, the one area that I can cultivate and kind of create for myself is in my business. I'm not saying that we are all that powerful and can control everything in our business. I mean, external events happen and things like that. But at least I can be intentional about that system in which I am operating. And so that focus for next week in all the trainings, whether you're a group practice owner and you're wanting to figure out how to pay people better and pay yourself better, or you want to start your practice, or you're wanting to, grow your business, or you're wanting to deal with the burnout. At the root of all of it, even though we're going to teach different tools each day, it's how do you cultivate a business that really does bring life and energy and joy to you, and not suck it out of you. Because the world is hard enough. There's enough going on that's trying to take your energy. And creating a business with intention is a way that we can cultivate and kind of protect some of our joy, protect some of what gives us the ability to face this life, whatever may come our way. So when we talk about joy, I don't want it to be flippant, like, oh, we're just happy and, whatever happens, great, No. Hard stuff happens. Hard stuff is happening now. I have a colleague in the Ukraine trying to leave, and all these kinds of things are going on in the world still. And yet, can something that sustains my life also be a joyful thing in the midst of everything going on? And I think our capacity for stress, our capacity for all the different kind of emotional breadth and depth has really shifted over the past few years. And we need to acknowledge our capacity in order to create something that really does hold us well. If you're building a business based on who you were 3 years ago, that may not work. Your business has to adjust to your life and what your needs are. So for just now, I want you to check in with yourself. For me, right now, it's the end of the day. For you, it might be morning, depending on your time zone, or it could be nighttime. And maybe you work today. So just take a breath. How do you feel in your body? How do you feel about how you showed up today? How you showed up for yourself, people you love, your clients. What is your energy like? Do you still have something left to give to you? Take another deep breath. And what are you discovering? If you want to share in the chat, that'd be awesome. If not, that's okay too. But we need to get back into our bodies and listen to what our bodies are telling us about what we're creating for ourselves. Joy doesn't mean there is no challenge or struggle, but it does mean that there is a openness and an enthusiasm to face those struggles and to find the ease. Are you finding the ease? Do you feel at least a little excited about what your calendar looks like, what your schedule looks like, what your day looks like? Or has your capacity shifted and the business has not accommodated the changes in your life? You're trying to fit something in like a round peg in a square hole, or whichever way you want to look at it, that doesn't work for you anymore. I think of joy, I think of that flexibility, that acknowledgement of saying, gosh, what do I need so that I can continue doing good work, so that I can sustain my life, so that I can be a whole person in the midst of all the things coming at us, so that when some new news happens, when we are faced with a challenge, it doesn't completely deplete us. And at the very least, our business isn't one of those factors sucking us dry of our energy. How do you bring some joy back in so that you can find ease in the other places of your life? So if you're a group practice owner, that could look like, what are your roles and responsibilities? How are you doing with all the tasks? Do you need to outsource more? Do you need a different pay structure? Do you need to pull back on your caseload? Do you need to pull back on your staff's caseload? What needs to shift there so that there's ease? Because without ease, that's not going to be very sustainable, at least not in a healthy way. Maybe you're starting your practice and you want to go, 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 go. And you're trying to cram it in between like your shifts at the hospital or your nonprofit job, and you want to get started. But what is the core things that you need to focus on so that you can do it with more ease? Because isn't that more enjoyable? Hey, Sunita, how are you? So, yeah, joy can be hard sometimes to find. And yet, when hard things happen in our world and we're reminded of pain and challenges, it's all the more reason that we should seek to cultivate that within ourselves so that we are resilient, so that our businesses are resilient. Because so many of us have been depleted. And our hope is that next week that we can inject some energy into you to remind you of the good, to remind you of the ease. And the cool part about what we're doing next week is that we don't expect you to attend every training. Just pick the one that really, really matters to you right now. Sarah is cultivating some joy by crocheting now as you listen. I love that. I'm probably going to go eat some dinner. This actually gives me joy just to talk to all of y'all, to just be honest about, man, I'm doing this joy rally. There's a war happening. I have more state issues with more oppressive systems than I can count on my hands that I am reading about in the news and seeing played out in my life. And it just goes on. And yet I want to turn to my business and say, but this is good. There is still good here, and I'm creating that good. And that gives me the energy to continue to create good in my life and to buoy, what a weird word, like carry us through the challenges we face. So that's my hope for you. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you next week. And if cultivating joy means turning off notifications on social media, do that too. Or not attending a training, do that too. So it's lovely to see you all. We're grateful for this community. If you are watching on social media, I'm also on Mighty Networks where we have our free community. When you join our training, you'll get the recording in our free community as well. If you know someone that could need a reminder to be cultivating joy in their business, if they've been feeling depleted, overwhelmed, stressed out, tired, something needs to change, please share this with them and invite them. It really is a communal effort to change how we do mental health as a community, as a culture. Hey, Myra, how are you? So good to see you. And it is okay to say to a friend, hey, have you been struggling? Let's do this together. Let's get support together. So, all right. Much love to all of you. I'm seeing that I'm frozen. So something's happening with the bandwidth and I'm going to let you go. Have a good night. Keep cultivating joy. Bye.